All right. We are recording.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. I'm super excited to be here with you to share this amazing experience with Matt Morris and guests from all around the world, in Zimbabwe to Philippines. I'm sure there's people here from Australia and all across the US. Welcome, welcome. I'm Melanie Levitz, originally from Miami. Kind of grew up learning what not to do. Both my parents were the troublemakers of their family. So I joined the Air Force and I saw this industry in travel, and it's drastically impacted my life. But today's not about me. Today it is all about leadership and how you can develop leaders. And I'm honored to introduce to you one of the greatest mentors that I've come across. Not only somebody that's very humble and successful, who's owned multiple businesses, has become an international author, multi best-selling author, also international speaker, has built teams all around the world of hundreds of thousands of people. And I have the honor to introduce the one and only Mr. Matt Morris. And don't let him surprise you, but he also likes to play pranks on those leadership trips. So make sure you get on those leadership trips so that you can get to meet Matt Morris
I,
yourself. Take it
I,
away, Matt. Thank you so
I,
much.
I still have that picture. We were on some kind of incentive trip. I don't know, remember
Yeah,
where, Hawaii or somewhere.
Hawaii.
And
Yeah,
Melanie had like fallen asleep at the dinner table. Must have been a
you
rough
remember
night the
that.
night
That
before.
was funny.
Anyway, so have had a ton of fun, and that's what I think life is all about. Most people seem to live almost like Groundhog Day. They do the same thing over and over and over again, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, and life is just meant to be lived big, right? And so few people make a decision to really live big, and so I just it's why I'm excited about Viago. I love this profession and just feel so overjoyed and blessed to be able to have an opportunity like this for all of us. And I don't care what your background is. You may be brand new. Maybe you just signed up on the presentation that we did an hour earlier. And today I'm going to overload you a little bit. Hopefully, I don't scare you away. But what I'd love to do, normally I do kind of like a fast start training here, but Melanie asked me to do a leadership training, and I was like, you know what, it's been a while, so why don't we combine forces here and do a special leadership training. And what I want to do here is I want to give you a framework for leadership because I always heard from my very beginning days as an entrepreneur. I started reading John Maxwell, and John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls based on leadership. I think that comes from the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And so I accepted that and I realized that my success, especially in network marketing, but it's true in any business, it's true in any government organization, it's true in any major corporation. You'll rise to success or plummet to failure based on your level of leadership. And so man, I need to be a powerful leader. The challenge is I never really had much of a framework for network marketing, right? There was some semi frameworks in the corporate world, but when it came to network marketing, I felt really lost and confused on what it meant to be a great leader. And so over the years, I have studied leadership more than I've studied anything else, and I could go all day long talking about leadership. But today, I want to give you a few nuggets that I believe will help you chart your course to becoming a powerful leader. If you have a goal of making $1 million a year, I'm going to give you a bit of a leadership framework to get there. And please don't think that you need to get all of this and understand it right off the bat. We'll continue to do more leadership trainings. We do big events. When you plug in, you get to learn this. And it's that old saying, repetition is the mother of all learning. Repetition is the mother of all learning. Why did I just say it twice? Because repetition is the mother of all learning. And so you're going to continue to get more and more and more, but take some notes today. We're recording this. I'll make sure to get the replay out. You can watch it multiple times if you want to do that. But my coaching for you is to really take notes and absorb this information and remember some of the key points that I go through. And so, the challenge was like, how do I become a great leader? What is true? And I'd read books on leadership, and every book says different things. A leadership is, the leader is committed, and the leader is this, and all these different character traits of leadership. And after reading a dozen books on leadership, I was just as confused as I was before I read my first book on leadership. And so, hopefully, today will give you that, clear path and so a bit of a clear understanding on what makes a great leadership. And so I want to start from the very beginning. and this is one of the most important key factors in becoming a great a great leader is a decision. And until you make a decision to win at the highest levels, you'll never step into a powerful level of leadership. Because the reality is, people want to follow someone who has big dreams, big goals, high aspirations. People don't typically want to follow someone who's content with mediocrity, someone who's content with getting by. And so, the first thing that I think is super important is just having that internal absolute commitment and decision that you're going to win. And when I think about decision, there's been a lot of like decisions that I made early on, but it wasn't really a decision. It was more like a want. I want to make $1 million, or I want to become a powerful leader, but then, the first wind that came knocked me off of that commitment. And, I didn't manifest very much. And it wasn't until I made that decision, like that proverbial line in the sand, where I said, I don't care what it takes. I don't care how hard I have to work. I don't care how long I have to work. I will absolutely be an amazing leader. I'll be one of the best the world's ever seen. I will absolutely be a millionaire. And if you look at the root word of decide, you get the word side. So genocide, suicide, pesticide. It means to kill off any other option than you winning big. And one of the reasons why I failed in network marketing for a number of years, I got started at 18. Took me 5 years to get to a full-time income. I never made that decision. I never drew that line in the sand. It's always like, hey, I'll do network marketing and hopefully it'll work out. If the stars align, if I get lucky, then I'll earn a full-time income. And what happened was I just was like a ping pong ball in the ocean, floating around, no force, no energy, and no real results to show for it. And so I remember I kind of floundered around in a few different companies, and then finally I had to get a job. And so I went and got a job in corporate America. It paid pretty well. I think I was making about 50,000 a year. When I was, 22, 23 years old, that's great money for a young guy. And I kind of put my dreams on hold of being a millionaire. It was like, hey, I can come to work my 40 hours, get paid, and I'm going to live a comfortable life. And so I paid off some of my debts. I started saving a little bit of money, and I had a good life, right? And so it wasn't until, and I'm so thankful for this experience, the dot-com, there was the dot-com boom and then the bust. Well, I was part of that bust. And so the funding for our company dried up, and they laid off 2/3 of the company in one day. 2/3 of the company whacked. And I just remember going home that day and being so frustrated because I was a great employee. I showed up on time. I would stay late. I traveled when I needed to travel. Like, I was willing to do whatever it took to excel in that company. And I knew I wasn't going to get rich, but it was that stability. It was a good life that I'd started settling for. And thank God they laid me off, because I remember thinking, I am never again am I going to sacrifice my goals and my dreams and everything that I want in my heart for a good life, for stability. And so I just made a decision that come hell or high water, I was going to become a millionaire in network marketing. And I made a decision that that was going to be my profession, right? I was going to be a professional, just like a doctor I would consider that to be a professional type person, right? A lawyer is a professional person, but I never equated being a professional network marketer. And so I made that decision, like, I'm going to be a professional network marketer, and I'm just going to figure it out. And I started studying network marketing. I started learning how to be coachable. I found a mentor, and that is when it all came together. And when it came together fast. Why? Because it wasn't just a want anymore. It was like a absolute commitment. There was no option for me to fail. And I want you to consider something in your mind. If you have an option to fail, you probably will. If in your mind, it's optional for you to win in Viago, you're probably not going to win, right? And so Donald Trump, I listened to his audiobook, one of his old audiobooks, The Art of the Deal. And one of the things he says in there is that it takes the same energy to think big as it does to think small. So you might as well think big. And I don't care what your political persuasion is, there's nothing more true than that. And so you're going to think anyway. You're going to make goals anyway. You might as well make big goals. You might as well make big commitments. You might as well go all in. And what happens if you don't go all in? Like, what's the risk of you going all in for success? What's the risk for you going all in to greatness in your life? I mean, God forbid, you change the course of your family's financial future. You be an inspiration to your children. You travel to 44 countries around the world like Melanie has. You go crush it in life. And the reality is most people will never live that kind of life. They'll never crush it in life. Why? Because they play small, they think small, and they never make a decision. So the best thing that you can do for your future in Viago is make a decision to win, and just have the mindset that I'm going to encourage you to adopt. It's a mindset that I adopted many years ago. And the mindset was, it's absolutely impossible for me to fail. There's no way I can fail. And here's why: because I'm willing to go do the work. And are there other people out there like Martin Deho and Melanie Levitz and so many others who, walked the stage for recognition at our last event? The people are out there. They're there. You can't debate it. It's irrefutable. They're there. So if the people are out there and success is possible, it should be impossible for me to lose. There's no way I don't succeed. And so when I adopted that philosophy of like, there's no way I can fail because I'm willing to work hard and find the people and plug in, and I may suck right now, but I know I'll get good. That's one of the things that really changed things for me. And I can remember one of the biggest shifts that I had in my mindset of leadership is when I developed that impossible to fail mindset. And I'm just like, man, I'm going to talk to everyone and I'm going to plug into the system. And I was not a public speaker. I was not the guy doing the trainings. I ended up becoming the top money earner at 24 in the company that I was in. It was a startup company. I was the top money earner, and I was not the guy on stage doing presentations. I wasn't the guy doing trainings because I had never had success before. I was living at home with my mom. I was working as a waiter before that. I struggled for like 5 years. But man, I was a great inviter. I was good at getting new people started. So you would never have looked at me and said, man, he's a great leader, because I was just like a dumb kid. I'm 24. I don't know what's going on. I'm just willing to follow the system and work hard. And this was one of the biggest shifts I ever had. It was a presentation or a training one day, and I'm kind of standing at the back of the room and, meeting people. And one of my guys that I had personally sponsored, he came to me and he said, man, I got to tell you, you motivate the crap out of me. And I still remember Michael Keating. He was a Dallas SWAT officer, and he was a guy I looked up to. This was like, he was like high level in the SWAT team and ripped. Good looking guy, beautiful wife. Man, I looked up to this guy, and he was genuinely like telling me how much I motivated him. And it was weird to me because I had never done a train. I don't think he had ever seen me do a training on stage. And I was a little confused, and I'm like, really? Because I'm still seeing myself as this dumb kid, right? And he goes, it's just seeing, I go, why? He goes, man, seeing your work ethic, like the amount of production that you put in is so inspirational. It inspires me to go out and do more. And, I had sponsored probably 40 people in the company. Wasn't the speaker, wasn't the trainer, wasn't all those things, but I'm making a bunch of money because I have the most people in the room. And I just remember like how hard that hit me, that I didn't need to be this, like, have the perfect look. I didn't have to have the pedigree. I didn't have to have the background. It was what I've determined is the number one most important factor in great leadership. Write this down. The number one most important factor in great leadership is one word, and that word is example. It's just example. So if you can get it through your head, it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter if you wash dishes for a living, if you sweep floors for a living. You can be one of the best leaders in Viago if you go and set the example. The formula for getting rich as a leader in network marketing and in Viago is you setting the best example, right? So forget about all that thing like you have to be well-spoken. I wasn't. I'm pretty well-spoken now. I'm comfortable because I've done thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these trainings. So I'm not intimidated. I can get on stage, whether it's a few hundred or a few thousand people, and I'm totally fine. Why? Because I've done it thousands of times, but I was so afraid. I was so scared. Like I could never be like those people I see on stage. I promise you with everything in me, as God is my witness, I never imagined I could be one of those charismatic leaders that I used to see on stage. It just wasn't me. I developed into that by doing it, right? And if you just do it long enough, you're going to get good. It's kind of like learning how to play the piano. Chances are you, like me, suck at playing the piano. There's probably a couple of you who are pretty good, but most of us suck at playing the piano. But if you got instruction on how to play the piano and you practice for 2 hours a day, at the end of a month, you'd be a lot better. At the end of 6 months, you'd be way better. At the end of a year, you can play multiple songs. You'd be pretty good if you practiced a couple hours every single day. So understand, if you just practice Viago an hour or two every day doing presentations and invitations, and you're learning and growing, you're going to get ridiculously good. We won't recognize you. I promise you, looking at me today versus me at 24 years old, I am a different human in almost every way, and all for the better. So you will absolutely transform your life if you'll just continue to plug in, continue to practice, continue to get good. And the only way to get good, please hear me when I say this, the only way to get good is to do it when you suck. It's the only way to get good. And some of you are waiting to be really a great presenter before you present. You're waiting to learn the perfect invite before you invite people to see it. See, I was just willing to screw it up. And I screwed it up a lot, a ton. I still screw it up today. I'll probably screw up at some point on this training, but I don't care anymore. Why? Because if I just keep going, I'm going to get better and better and better and better. And I'm committed to reinventing Matt Morris even today. You know, you look at children. I look at my kids. I mean, my daughter just turned 16. I mean, she is a different human than when she was 12. You know, in the last 4 years, she's transformed. She's like a different human. And it's the case for all children. You know, you look at even a 3-year-old as your 3-year-old, when they turn 5, they're like a different human. They've grown so much, but most humans stay the same. Year after year after year after year, it's the same level of charisma, same level of being able to speak, same level of income, same level of pretty much everything, relationships and fitness and all of it. People are the same. Every 5 years, they're different. And because I've been on this continuous journey of self-evolution, I've reinvented myself over and over and over and over and over again, and you can absolutely do the same. So understand that this whole idea of maybe you can win, maybe you'll like go full-time, or maybe you won't, is bullshit. It's just crap in your mind. If you're telling yourself there's I hope I can do this, it's crap. You have to stop telling yourself you hope you're going to do it. You hope you find the right people. The people are there. It's up to you. You don't try to win. See, one of the best lessons I ever had in my life was from my mom. I had a test the next day, and she was like, you know, are you going to do good on the test? And I was like, I'm going to try. And she's like, she didn't accept that. And there was a marker. It was like a little magic marker thing, a color magic marker. And she put it on the table and she said, Matt, try to pick that up. And I picked up the marker and she goes, no, put it down. So I put it down. And she said, try to pick up the marker. And I'm like, my mom's stupid. So I pick up the marker and she goes, put it down. I put it back down. She goes, Matt, I didn't say pick up the marker. I said, try to pick up the marker. And then it clicked in my mind. So then I grabbed the marker and I'm like, and so she got the message. She goes, you either do good on the test or you don't do good on the test. There's no try. Go study. So such a powerful lesson. Stop trying and just do. Make the decision and you're going to win. So in your journey, once you've made that decision that you're going to win, that it's impossible to fail, that you understand that leadership is all about example. If you set a great example, you will be a great leader. Doesn't matter your background, none of that. I went from living at home with my mom, making $400 a week at Saltgrass Steakhouse in Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas, to 6 months later making $40,000 a month, being what was perceived as the best leader in the company because I was making the most money. And it had nothing to do with my background, everything to do with example. So what are the levels of leadership? I want to guide you through these levels, because if you understand the levels, you have a clear path forward. And so what are the different levels? There's 5 levels of leadership. And the first level of leadership is student. Okay? So the first level of leadership is always student. Now, you essentially, for most of your journey in leadership, you need to be all of these, right? And so student is the base, right? So everything is based on you being a student. Student is the base. Every other level of leadership sits upon the base. And as you grow in leadership, it's even more important that you remain a student, because you can't grow your people if you don't grow yourself. So you got to have this commitment to continuous and never-ending improvement. So first level of leadership in Viago is commitment to being a student, right? And this is how you'll advance all the way through, but you don't advance all the way through until you really make that commitment to personal development, to constantly growing. So one of my commitments, right, when I set goals every year, one of my goals is learning and growth. I have a goal of being a great student. Okay, how do I do that? Well, continuous and never-ending improvement. So I commit to reading at least 10 pages of a book every day. Today I read 16 pages. Yesterday I think I read 14 pages. Some days, I'm going to be transparent with you, there's some days where I'll read 1 or 2 pages because I forgot. Life got in the way and it's bedtime and I'm tired. I want to go to bed. But because I make that commitment, I'll read 1 or 2 pages. Just before I go to bed, I'll read 1 or 2 pages and then I'll crash. So at least on average, 10 pages every day. Almost every day I do more than that. But why do I do that? Because I don't get to reinvent myself unless I have the right input that's put in. And so you got to make that commitment. And the biggest commitment with us is really attending and promoting the corporate events, the major events. We just had an event in Dallas and it was freaking awesome. It was an absolutely amazing event. Everyone who was in attendance was glad they were there. And sometimes it's an expense to go. You got to take time off work. There's all these factors that can cause you to not be there. You got to understand that you'll never transform your life without that commitment to being a student. Okay, transformation more than anything else doesn't happen from the books. It doesn't happen from YouTube videos or podcasts. More than anything, transformation happens at the event. Every $1 million earner, listen to me when I say this, every $1 million earner that I've worked with over the years can point to some event that was the catalyst, where something switched in their mind. The flip got switched. The light bulb came on, the penny dropped if you're in the UK, and that's what they needed to go all in. And you don't have that that's what transformation is, stepping into a new version of yourself. The way transformation happens is you attend these events, okay? Learn from a specific mentor, watch their presentation over and over and over, transcribe their presentation. I mean, one of the biggest things that I've done over the years is I'll record someone's presentation. I'll have it transcribed. You can go to rev.com, rev.com, and for a couple dollars, they'll transcribe it for you. And then I read it word for word for word for word. You know, it's just, it's an enhanced level of being a student, okay? And so that's the base. Everything starts there. And from a student, you're always going to be a student. And as a student, you need to ultimately learn the 7 key skills. So take a picture, a screenshot of this on your screen. You can write them down, but in case there's not enough time, these are the 7 key skills in network marketing. Okay. The first one is prospecting. You don't have to worry about prospecting initially because you already have a lot of people you know. Like you have all the contacts in your phone, the people on social media. You don't have to worry about prospecting, like meeting people and you know, doing social media to attract people to you, but that's one of the skills is prospecting, finding people to talk to. Okay. Number 2 is inviting. The most important skill in network marketing, at least initially, for you to get to a full-time income, the most important skill is inviting. This is the gateway skill. See, you can be a great closer, right? You can be great at getting new people started, but if you're not inviting people to see a presentation, you're never going to enroll anyone. So that's what I got ridiculously good at. My mentor, he said, become a professional inviter. And if you can become a pro at inviting, you'll learn all the other skills, but it's the most important one. And so I just invited more people than anyone else. Like this is before Zooms. We didn't have Zooms. We did hotel meetings and restaurants and stuff like that. And I just had more butts in the seats. I just invited more people. And how did I do that? I got rejected more. I was willing to get out of my comfort zone. See, we all live inside our comfort zone, and inside our comfort zone is comfort, ease. But everything we want lies outside of the comfort zone. Wealth and ambition, everything, that's all outside the comfort zone. And so you got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and just invite more people and be willing to get rejected more than anyone else. I'll tell you, my probably biggest secret to success in network marketing over the years is I've just been rejected more than almost anyone else. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, probably thousands of times, actually. I have been rejected. I've been told no. I've had people that I've invited and they won't even look. Right? But I got to be willing to go screw it up, get rejected a lot. So this is the key. Number 3 is presenting. The great thing about technology is you don't have to be a great presenter initially. You can invite them to a Zoom presentation. You can invite them to one of the videos online that do the presentation. Eric Gersbowski, he does 3 presentations every day. You can invite people to his presentations. I did one earlier and I did a presentation, right? Eventually you want to do this, you want to get good at it, but you don't have to worry about it in the beginning. Number 4 is following up and closing, right? Getting good. And the point of this is not to teach you how to do all these. It's just to give you, like, these are the skills that you're going to want to learn to make millions and millions of dollars. Okay. Following up and closing, getting people started, asking them to join. Okay. Number 5 is getting a new person started. When you get someone in, it's like helping them get into action. Number 6, it's promoting events. It's the number 1 money-making skill of a leader is promoting events, getting people to the major training events. And then finally is training. You being able to train on those first 6, okay? You being on stage, you being able to train on how to invite, how to present, how to follow up and close, right? And so these are the 7 key skills. You don't need to know all those in the beginning to make money. In fact, you could be, you could probably make $100,000 a year without mastering all these. The key, what are the most important? Invite your ass off, get lots of people to the presentation, and then follow up and close the people who get there, and then help them get started, right? I mean, you do those things, you're going to be making some money. And so what's the next level of leadership? Let's get back to our chart here. So the next level of leadership, once you've become a student, then it is this, producer. Producer is the next level of leadership. And this is, pay attention to this, this is super important. The number 1 step that people want to skip is getting to, is producer. Because after producer, you have leader, and you have leader producer, and then you have leader duplicator. Okay, so these are the 5 levels: student, producer, leader, leader producer, leader duplicator. Okay, so producer, what is a producer? A producer, you grow by addition. Okay, you are putting people in, you're personally sponsoring people. Now, how do you get to be an effective producer? And what does it mean to be an effective producer? Please hear me on this, because it's one of the things that people skip. You're not a producer, not a real producer, unless you've personally sponsored 30 people. You haven't mastered the producer level until you've personally sponsored 30 people into Viago. Now, maybe you sponsored 30 people over the years into other companies, but you didn't do it in Viago. Well, you're not a producer in Viago if you haven't personally sponsored 30 people in Viago. It's why I love like Martin Dijo. I mean, he's personally sponsored almost 50 in a couple months. He's mastered the producer level. So now he can teach other people how to produce. Okay. And it's what everyone wants to skip. They want to go directly to leader. See, leader is when you start growing by multiplication. It's when you have other producers within your organization and you're growing other producers in your organization. And it's the first hint of freedom. But what most people want to do is they complain, right? They've sponsored 5 or 10 or 15 people and they're like, I'm a leader, but my team's not growing. No, you're not a leader yet because you haven't mastered the producer phase. What does it take to master the producer phase? Personally sponsor 30 people. Now, I don't care if you do it in a month or you do it in a year. Very few people are ever going to do what Martin Dijo has done. Now, he's on the fast track. I believe Martin's going to make millions and millions of dollars. No guarantees, but I believe he's going to do that. Why? Because, I mean, he's mastered that producer phase quick. He understands he can't skip this and go directly to leader. See, leader is like where people get the glory. Like everyone wants to be a leader, but you have to be willing to do the things required to actually be a leader. Okay, so at the producer phase, you've mastered, here's what Martin has mastered, right? He's mastered the first 4 skills. Okay? Now, I know Martin, he's got a lot of success. He already, I know he already masters this, but to be an effective producer, you need to master these 4. Find people to talk to, invite them, present, follow up, and close, right? Here's where producers stagnate, why they don't become leaders. Okay, again, I'm going to say it again so you can take notes. Here's where producers stagnate and they stay at the producer level, is because they haven't mastered skills 5 and 6, right? You're putting a bunch of people in, you put 30 in, but you're not working to get them started. It's why they stagnate. You're not effectively promoting events, right? See, the events are the magic. You get people to the events, and that's where the light bulb comes on. It's where leadership is really developed. It's developed at the events, okay? And so this is an important point, and I want you to get this, and I want you to write this down, okay? You must, underline must, stay in producer mode until you're at the income level you want to retire at. You must stay in producer mode until you're at the income level you want to retire at. Why? Because this is a business of duplication. What did I say early on in this talk was the number one most important factor in great leadership? It was example. And if you're not setting the example, it doesn't matter what you say, your team's not going to duplicate. People duplicate what you do, not what you say. So keep personally sponsoring people until you're at the income level you want to retire at. See, I have been blessed to make about $20 million in network marketing. Over the course of about 12, 13 years, I made about $15 million. And I never got out of personal sponsorship mode. I sponsored about 400 to 500 people over the course of 13 years. It's about 2 to 3 a month on average. That's not a lot. Like I went through spurts where I'd sponsor 10 people in a month or 15 people in a month. And then it was like 1 or 2 a month, 1 or 2 a month, 1 or 2 a month. And I never got out of that. Why? Because I understood as soon as I stopped sponsoring people, my team stopped sponsoring people. They're always looking at you thinking, oh, is it really time to run? And if you're not putting anyone in, they're thinking, well, I guess it's not time to go, right? And so understand, if you get out of producer mode, your income is gonna typically kind of go backwards until you are at a much higher level of leadership, until you get to that leader duplicator, maybe leader producer, but certainly you wanna keep doing it. Now, why do producers stagnate? Producers stagnate because, once again, they haven't mastered skills 5 and 6, right? It's why they're not getting duplication, okay? So you want to work on mastering those skills. The other reason, and this is a reason why people stagnate at all the different levels, no matter which it is, it's a lack of internal mastery, a lack of working on yourself. And I only know this because I've been doing this so long. I've been doing network marketing 30 years of my life. So I started at 18. I'm 48 now. Okay. So 30 years I've been involved in the network marketing profession. And I know this firsthand. Whenever I get out of personal development mode, my level of internal mastery starts to drop. My creativity, my motivation, and it's why I hold myself accountable every day to learning. It's why I commit to 10 pages a day on average of reading a book. Why? Because I know that's what I need for growth. Okay. Now, what do you need to be doing as a producer? I mean, I think you get it at this point. You need to remain a student, constantly grow yourself, set the bar high for your team, start teaching your team how to master skills 1 through 4. And then we get into the leadership phase. Now, at the leadership phase, this is where you have some producers on your team and you're growing producers, right? You're working with them to teach them how to master that producer phase. Okay. As a leader, growth happens on your team when you're present. Okay. When you're present, it'll grow and you'll have sales happening without you. But if you pull out, see, at the leader phase, you're kind of like the energetic hub for your organization. People are counting on you for your energy, your vision, your excitement. And so that's why you have growth when you're present. If you go away, like move away, then growth is going to typically start going backwards. Okay. As a leader, you're in the trenches, you're providing training, 3-way calls, presentations, some training, right? And how do you become a great trainer? Very, very simple. I'm going to teach you exactly how I became a good trainer. Is my upline, my mentor, he wasn't very good. He did not have a lot of, what do you call it? Analytical ability. He was the best salesperson I've ever met. Motivated the heck out of people. He was great at like personal growth and like telling you what you needed to hear to go like step into your power. Amazing. Best I've ever seen. But he wasn't good about having a schedule. And so I just got, man, there needs to be a schedule of training. So I decided to do a Monday night leadership training, and I'd never done any type of training before. And this was back before Zoom, we had conference calls, and I was so intimidated. And I promoted this like a week out. Next, like I started on like a, Tuesday. On Monday night, we're going to have this leadership training. So bring everyone, and I'm going to do a leadership training. And here's literally exactly what I did. I took all the notes from leadership books that I had read, and I put them on a sheet of paper. And on the call, thank God no one could see me, I just read my notes. I read my notes with enthusiasm and excitement, and I got so much positive feedback. They were like, oh my God, that was amazing. You're such a powerful leader. All I did was copy from notes that I had, things that I had heard my upline say. So how do you become a great trainer? Take notes on the stuff that I'm telling you right now, make them your own. Go take what you learned from any of the leaders here and go train someone else on it. Right? Train your new person on it. You just got someone started, let's say tomorrow, you sponsor someone. Man, go train them on some of the stuff that you learned. That's how you get to be a great trainer. It's a very, very simple stuff. Okay. Now, why does a leader stagnate? Again, they stagnate because of, see, a leader is typically pretty good at getting new people started. Otherwise, they wouldn't really be a leader, but they stagnate because of they haven't mastered 6 and 7, right? They're good at creating some duplication, but they're not getting enough people to the events, and so they just stagnate. They're not good at training themselves on the key skills. They're afraid to step into their power and take what they learned from someone else and impart it to their team. Okay, so these are the couple of the key skills on why people stagnate is they're not promoting events, just not getting enough people to the events. Okay, and they're not willing to train others on what they've learned. And so, and then of course, there's a lack of internal mastery as well. If you are not growing, you are dying. It is, if you probably get right now that I am overemphasizing the student phase. This is the base. And as you grow, the more important it is to master this level. And what happens with so many leaders, I've seen it over the years, is they get to the point where they're a leader, and a leader, what's a leader in Viago? It's probably like a sapphire or emerald. right? That's kind of that leadership phase. And it's like, I've arrived. And so they get out of that student mode. And when you get out of student mode, you're on your way backwards. Okay. So once you get good at all of these, oh, and one more warning that I want to give you before I forget. Number one reason why leaders stagnate. It's probably the number one reason why leaders stagnate. And write this down, is they get into management mode. Okay. I've sponsored all the people I need to. Now I'm going to manage my team. You always need to be in personal production mode, especially at the leader phase. Because when you sponsor someone, it motivates your entire team to go sponsor someone. Okay. I'm going to do quick troubleshooting. At these levels, like whatever problems that you have as a leader, you can, go back to a lack of mastery on one of these. But I'm going to tell you something that a mentor of mine taught me, and I hated it when he said this. He said, whatever problem you're having in your business, you can solve it by personally sponsoring 10 more people. And I was like, that's not what I wanted to hear. I want to hear some magical leadership formula that I can motivate my team. How do you motivate your team? You don't motivate your team by the words that you say. You motivate your team by the actions that you take. Go sponsor 10 more people. And I'll tell you, this is what happened. I went and sponsored 30 people in 1 month. When I just finally decided I'm going to go all in like I've never gone all in before, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to cold call any business card that I had at someone I met at some point. I'm just going to cold call them and invite them to see my opportunity. I sponsored 30 people in a month. I've never sponsored 30 people in 1 month since then. That was, 24 years ago, something like that. My team grew. I'm making about $1,000 a week, and then my team plateaus. I'm like, what is going on? Now, I had gotten out of personal production mode, but I was like going to be the best leader ever. I'm there for you. Call me, 3-way calls. I'll come do presentations, home parties, you name it, whatever. And I just decided, I heard that advice. Whatever problem you have in your team can be solved by personally sponsoring 10 more people. So I didn't want to, but I was like, all right, I'm going to get back into production mode. And I went and sponsored 10 people in the next month, and my whole team took off. It's just crazy. It's the way it's worked for all the years. If I want to solve stagnation, go sponsor 10 more people. Okay. The other thing that'll happen is like being a mother hen to your team. If you're, my team probably hates me because it's like, hey, how does this work in the back office? I'm like, I don't know. Tell me when you find out. Hey, I'm having this customer service issue. I'm like, yep. Email me and let me know if it worked out. Like I'm not a mother hen to my team. I'm going to do presentations and trainings for you, but I want to kick people out of the nest as fast as possible. I want to get them presenting as fast as possible. And so that's one thing that can definitely stagnate your team. The other thing is hogging the glory. As a leader, the thing that you want to get more than anything else is that you want to believe in people more than they believe in themselves. It's one of the things that I've seen. People get up to a certain level and they plateau. And they plateau because they have an ego issue. They want the recognition. They want all the edification. And they're so hungry for that recognition and edification, they never get themselves out of the way and allow the leaders to step up. So I want my team thinking they're better than me. I want everyone thinking, holy crap, if Matt can do it, I can do it. So it is hogging the glory and not giving recognition and edification, right? It's like the old hot potato. Someone throws you a hot potato. What do you do with it? You throw it to someone else as fast as possible. So when you get edification and the glory, right? Oh, Matt, you're the most amazing leader. I'm like, you know what? I'm only a great leader because I have so many amazing leaders on my team and they just make me look good. That's the reality. Okay. So make sure you're giving the edification away. Now, again, reinforce this. Make sure you are remaining a student. Make sure you're continuing to produce personally at that leadership level. Okay. Now, what's the next level? The next level is leader producer. Okay. This is where you have a handful of leaders on your team. And by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. What is the number one key to advancing from one level to the next level? What's the key to going all the way up the chain, right? It is just helping people get to the level that you're at. So you're a student, you're brand new into the company. How do you get to be a producer? Go sponsor 30 people who are now students. Okay. Now you're a producer. How do you get from producer to leader? Go help 3 of your producers, or it could be 2 or 3 of your producers, right? Help them become a producer. So you're a producer, help 2 or 3 other people become producer. Now you're a leader. How do you go from leader to leader producer? Help 2 or 3 of your leaders become leader producers, right? It's just helping other people get to the level you're at. You help 2 or 3 people get to the level that you're at, and you advance to the next level. It's as simple as that. And so as a leader producer, you have a handful of leaders on your team. You're operating at a high level on the 7 key skills. Okay, you must continue, listen to me when I say this, you must continue to be a student, you must continue to be a producer, you must continue to be a leader as a leader producer. You're not done yet. Now, what are these levels? This is more like a diamond, right? A blue diamond, a red diamond. This is a leader producer. You got a handful of leaders on your team, but just like the leader level, if you were to unplug totally, stop doing anything, your leaders are going to start to question things like, well, if so-and-so is not plugged in at all, maybe I shouldn't be plugged out at all. Okay. And this is the first feeling, first taste of real freedom. See, as a leader producer, you can go take a month off if you wanted to, right? Like, you don't have to be like, it's not in the grind as much anymore at the leader producer level. Now, if you want to get rich, stay in the grind. It's one of the reasons why I was able to make $15 million over the course of about a 12-year time frame is I just stayed in the grind. Okay. And so mentoring becomes an important role as a leader producer. I mean, you're growing by multiplication, you're helping advance people, you're saying, hey, what book are you reading right now? You're recommending books for your team, right? You're providing that higher level mentorship as a leader producer. Okay. Now, why does a leader producer stagnate? And one of the biggest reasons are ego conflicts. Okay, I have seen this several times. I always hate it, but someone gets to a leader producer, they think they are the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to, leadership and network marketing, and they become an asshole to their team. It's like my way or the highway, and they want to control their leaders, and their leaders get pissed off and they quit. It's like, I don't want this person above me making any money off my efforts. So ego is some of the biggest conflicts. They hog the glory. They won't recognize their people. It's my way or the highway. They go into just massive management mode. They want to control their organization versus inspire and lead their organization. So understand, managing your organization is very different than leading your organization. How do you lead an organization? You set the example. You inspire, right? You mentor. You don't manage. Hey, how many people did you show today? Right? It's not that like corporate accountability. And then another reason, there's often 2 things missing. When someone stagnates at this level, the 2 things they're missing is fire and certainty. They lost that fire, that drive, what got them to this level. Now they become comfortable. It's like, ooh, now I'm making $10,000 or $20,000 a month and I'm comfortable. And they go into that management mode and they just lack the fire and certainty. It's like the hamster wheel all over again. They do a presentation and there's no fire in it. They do a training and there's no fire in it. And so you got to increase your fire and certainty and your excitement. Okay. And then finally, the ultimate level is leader duplicator. Now, as a leader duplicator, this is your purple diamond, black diamond level. Okay. This is, I'm not at this level in Viago. I'm not there. Now, I've been there in the past where I've had multiple people in my organization, $50 million earners within my organization in the past. At this point, it is ultimate freedom. You could actually completely take off. This is the level where you are insignificant to the growth of your organization. Whether you sponsor anyone or not, your team is growing. Whether you're in the trenches or not, your team is growing. Now, you want to show up to events, you want to continue to mentor and train, you want to mentorship is almost everything at this level. flying into markets and pouring gas on the fire and opening up new markets and becoming a master in training so that you can go into like you have 500 people that popped up in, I don't know, Papua New Guinea. And so you fly into Papua New Guinea, and because you're such a great trainer and motivator, then you can go throw gas on that fire and it spreads like crazy. This is where you get all the glory because you've given away all the glory, right? You just give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away. And the more you give it away, the more it comes back to you. This is where you're making $1 million a year, where, you're able to start investing every month. You can do a new real estate deal and use your residual income to buy more residual income. I mean, this is the level where it is just the absolute dream in network marketing. And it took you a lot of work to get there. This is where you've really created a movement, right? It's not about you anymore. It's got beyond you. You have teams in your organization and they have their own teams and their own thing going on, but it's ultimate true financial freedom. And on a day-to-day basis, you're just insignificant to the growth. And at this phase, it's much more art than science, right? You've learned so much along the way. The science is learning the 7 key skills. The art is the art of mentorship, knowing who to motivate and who to challenge and who to love on, right? And, you're still going to make mistakes at this level, but you've pretty much secured that financial freedom. And so this is where, if you want to continue to create a massive movement, you want to remain a student, you want to continue working on your inner game. At this point, you're working with the company on a leadership scale of like, hey, this is the direction that we want to shape the company and where we want to head the company. And that is where it just gets freaking amazing. And so this, my friends, is really the framework. And it's, when you break it down, it's fairly simple. How do you go from student to producer? Help 30 people become a student. Then you're an effective producer. You've mastered the producer phase. Do you stop at 30? No, keep going, but you've mastered the producer phase. How do you go from producer to leader? Well, help 2 or 3 other people become producers, one on your left, one on your right. That pushes you up to leader. How do you become a leader producer? Help 1 leader left, 1 leader right. You're a leader producer. How do you become from a leader producer to a leader duplicator? Help 2 or 3 other people become leader producer. You become a leader duplicator. It's as simple as that, all the way up the chain. And the biggest reason for a lack of success is a lack of belief in yourself. It becomes easy to believe in other people. The hardest thing for us is to believe in ourselves. And I want to demystify one thing, because it was the biggest challenge for me. It wasn't the things that I had to do to make $1 million a year. The biggest challenge was believing it could happen to me. And I remember my mentor saying, and I put him on the biggest pedestal ever. It was like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And I wish I could speak like that. And he saw it, I think. And he said, Matt, I want you to read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And there's a quote in the book that says, it's good to observe the leader, learn from him, observe him, study him, but never worship him, because second best thinkers are invariably second best doers. And I realized I was being a second best thinker when he said that. And he said, I want you to learn from me. I want you to read all the books. I want you to learn from everyone else so that one day you're going to be better than all of us. Are you up for the challenge? And I lied to him and I said yes. And I thought, there's no way I could ever be as good as him or anywhere close, or many of the other leaders that I saw in network marketing. And so, but I was going to be coachable, and I was like, yes. And then I left going, there's no way. There's no way, but how? If there was a way, what would that way be? How could I ever be as great of a leader as him? And he was the kind of guy, drove an S-Class Mercedes, platinum, Rolex watch, God's gift to personal development. He walked around, people hung on every word he said, spouting out nuggets of wisdom everywhere he went. People hung on every word he said when he was on stage. He was funny, charming, charismatic, all these things that I wasn't. And I just finally, after 2 or 3 weeks, it finally hit me. It was like, you know what? Are more people like me, or are more people like him? More people are like me. Do more people have an S-Class Mercedes, or more people drive what was I driving? A Chevy Tahoe. More people drive a Chevy Tahoe than drive the S-Class Mercedes. Are more people, God's gift to network marketing, or more people failed in network marketing? More people have failed. And what I got was I can relate to people on a level that he probably can't anymore, because I'm just like most people. And what hit me was all of the things that I had perceived as my weaknesses were actually my strength. The fact that I was shy, that was a strength, because if I could get out of my comfort zone and go produce some success, I'd inspire all the shy people. I had failed in network marketing before, and that became a strength, because I can tell the story of having failed in network marketing for 5 years, and now I'm winning big because I'm following this system with this company. And I was young, and I thought young was like holding me back. People didn't take me seriously. That was my excuse. My bullshit excuse was, oh, people don't take me seriously because I'm young. Bullshit. They don't take me seriously because I'm not succeeding. All I need to do is create a little bit of success, and then I'll motivate all the people who are older than me. And so I just stopped believing the lie. The lie was that my self-imposed limitations were holding me back. The truth was that all those self-imposed limitations were powers if I could just go succeed, because the key to being a great leader is setting the example. It's not being funny. It's not being charismatic. It's not being any of that. It's just setting the example. So if I go set the example, I can be as powerful of a leader as anyone in the world. And that is the case for you. That is the case for you. If you will just go set the example, you can be as powerful as any leader in Viago and any leader in network marketing. So my friend, accept the power that you have inside you. Accept that it's real. And when any of those bullshit excuses pop into your mind, like I know they have in the past, call them for what they are, a lie from the pits of hell. Let's go crush it, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Good night. We'll see you at the next event. Take care, everyone.